Early this morning, 60th ranked Amanda Anisimova outlasted defending Aussie Open champ Naomi Osaka 4-6, 6-3, 7-6 to reach her first major second week in nearly 3 years. Getting right into the match overview, Amanda had a shaky start, hitting a few double faults and making a few errors in her opening service game to get broken. Her footwork wasn't as solid, plus she wasn't completely hitting through the forehand. Naomi served and returned well right from the beginning and smothered the young American. Amanda just looked really rushed and could not handle the pace from Osaka at all. Naomi had 2 break points at 2-love to go up a double break, but Amanda started to settle in and prepare better on her strokes to stave away the early threats. Naomi continued to serve strong, which allowed her to dominate and take control in her service games. Amanda, though, was getting more and more looks at breaking, but Osaka was just too solid when it mattered, carrying her advantage until the end of the opener. Still, Amanda didn't waver and only got better as the match wore on. In the second game of the second set, Amanda played a tremendous return game, hitting like 4 return winners and holding 3 break points, but Naomi came up with some incredible shots to get through that game. Osaka used that clutch hold as momentum to then hold 2 break points of her own the following game. However, this time Amanda showed her clutchness, saving them both with some risky but effective second serves. In the following game, Amanda combined good defense with offense and took advantage of a few wild Osaka errors to finally break the Japanese woman's serve. Amanda's serve was on the entire match, which allowed her to keep her break advantage all the way through the second set. Naomi's first serve percentage did drop off, which allowed Anisimova the opportunity to attack and gain control of the points. She had early break opportunities in the decider, but couldn't take advantage because of some inopportune mistakes. Right when you thought Amanda would have a letdown for failing to capitalize, she went right back to that baseline and continued swinging away. Anisimova redirected her shots extremely well and increased the pace herself. This match was primarily a battle from the baseline, which Naomi usually wins, but Amanda rivaled and even outplayed the defending champ from the ground. She was clinical on serve as well, not allowing Naomi practically any chances to break in the decider. However, the 13th seed finally had her opportunity to end this once and for all, holding match points at 5-4 on the American serve. Osaka netted 2 backhands on the 2 match points, the first being more of a forced error, while the second was a pretty bad miss. Credit to Amanda though for holding her nerve and getting through that extremely challenging service game. Osaka didn't let the disappointment get to her though, holding with ease before Amanda did the same to send us into a match-deciding 10-point tiebreak. Amanda took total charge of the breaker and dictated on her own terms. She was rewarded for her fearless brand of tennis as her 11th ace stood one of the biggest wins of her career thus far. This match is already going down in the top 5 matches of 2022. The quality was sky high throughout as neither woman had any lapses. Even if a ball landed a hair too short, point was over. Naomi and Amanda also hit winners from positions where they had no business doing so. Going into how the match was won and lost, while the margins were super thin, I do think Naomi could have won this match first if she obviously didn't miss those 2 backhands. However, the major thing I noticed was her return. She missed one too many returns in my opinion, especially when stretched wide on the due side. Osaka returned exceptionally well in Melbourne last year, but this time around it's been off. On that wide deuce return, Osaka did not stay with the ball long enough and she opened her hip far too soon, which is why all those returns went wayward. And then one other critique is that Naomi was way too predictable on her second serve. If a serve sits up in Amanda's wheelhouse, it's basically point over, and I can't even count how many times she struck return winners. She attacked Osaka's second serve relentlessly, which not many people do, which is why I think Naomi didn't expect it. She thought that she could get away with some of those old kick serves in the middle of the box, but it wasn't cutting it. The scoreline actually could have been even closer in Amanda's favor if she took more of her chances on turn. On the flip side, I thought Amanda did well to take risks on her second serve, and they paid off as she won 61% of second serve points throughout the match. She was also smart with her serving, frequently going out wide to open up the court for herself. I was impressed by how well Amanda's forehand held up because, as I mentioned in my previous video, that wing is prone to breaking down, especially under pressure. Clearly the offseason training with Darren Cahill paid off because she pumped the ball off that side, and I think that made all the difference. Naomi will obviously be disappointed with the result, but she can't be too mad at herself because she played extremely well throughout. This is one of the few times where she was simply outplayed, even when playing her best tennis. Osaka had a positive perspective about the match in the press, acknowledging that she cannot win every match, but she can be happy with how hard she fought for each point tonight. She also appreciated how she's matured mentally since the Fernandez match at the US Open, and I'm glad that she's just enjoying herself out there on the court again. Now, even though Naomi is playing top 5 tennis right now, she's going to fall outside the top 80 with last year's points from Melbourne coming off. This shows how dismal her 2021 season really was, aside from the Australian Open. But in her defense, she barely played, so I expect her to be back in the top 30 in no time. I know the players hope that she'll be seeded by the time of at least the French Open because nobody wants to see her as an early round opponent. Focusing now on Amanda, I can't express how proud and happy I am for her. She's been through a lot throughout her young career, especially the last 2 seasons, having to navigate the loss of her father. She's been knocking on the door for a breakthrough recently, and she came so close at the US Open, where she lost to Karolina Pliskova in the second round despite holding a match point. This time around, she saved match points to win, and I can't imagine how good that must feel. I feel like a lot of people underestimated Amanda because when the draw came out, everybody was looking at Bencic as the woman to cause Naomi some problems, but I knew from the start that Anisimova was going to be the one to reach the 3rd round. Now, her section of the draw is extremely brutal though, as after getting by Osaka, she now faces another extremely tough test in Ash Barty, who continues her reign of dominance, beating Camila Giorgi in straights. Both Barty and Anisimova are by far the 2 best players of the season so far, both women being undefeated. I expect another compelling match here, as Amanda will likely be super keen on revenge. She actually led Barty a set and 3-love up in the 2019 French Open semis before Ash stormed back and went on to claim the title there. Moving down, Maria Sakkari will be a favorite to reach the quarter, squaring off against Jessica Pegula, who hasn't played her best tennis but has been aided by a pretty favorable draw. Meanwhile, Barbora Krejcikova, aided by a bathroom break, is into the 4th round after a solid win over resurgent Jelena Ostapenko. She'll get Victoria Azarenka next, who's been absolutely demolishing the field, only dropping 2 games against Svitolina and 9 games total thus far. Madison Keys and Paula Badosa both survived some scares last night and will score off for a spot in the quarterfinals. Keys didn't necessarily play her best, but much of that was because of how many balls Wang Qiang makes you play. The Chinese woman took out Coco Gauff, so it's good that Maddie was able to find a way to come through. Then Badosa was steamrolling in her match, being up 6-2, 4-2, but the fiery, talented Ukrainian Marta Kostyuk didn't go without a fight and made the 8 seed earn her spot into the 2nd week. Fellow Spaniard Rafael Nadal has continued his dominance in Melbourne, earning a convincing 4-set win over Karen Khachanov. Nadal's been serving strong all tournament and has really been going after that shot. That's a sign that he's confident and more willing to be aggressive to take more risks. That's translated to him coming forward more, and the 6 seed was successful in the forecourt, winning 88% of points at net. I think Rafa's going to be happy with his little mini section too, as another big hitting Russian, Aslan Karatsev, is out after falling to Frenchman Adrian Mannarino. Mannarino's having one of the best tournaments of his career, also getting a win over 10 seed Hurkacz in round 2. Adrian could perhaps provide Rafa some challenges, as he did in their 2 previous meetings. Still, I think the 2009 champ will prefer this opponent and will ultimately make the last 8. Another Frenchman that's in good form is Gael Monfils, who despite an ankle tweak, dominated 16 seed Christian Garin in straight sets. He'll be the big favorite against Serbia's Miomir Kecmanovic, who took out Lorenzo Sonego. Pablo Carreño Busta was too solid for Sebastian Korda today, reaching the 2nd week. Matteo Berrettini denied an all-Spanish 4th round, defeating 18-year-old Carlos Alcaraz in a 4-hour 5-set battle. Huge credit to both players, first Carlos for fighting back from the 2 sets deficit to nearly pull off another epic victory, then Matteo, who raised his level considerably from the previous 2 rounds and managed to keep his cool after losing that big lead. Lastly, the most anticipated matchup by far will be between Alexander Zverev and Denis Shapovalov, who got by Radu Alba and Riley Opelka respectively. Looking ahead to day 6's schedule, Raleva Arena honestly looks poor, and I love Danielle Collins. I'd rather go to Margaret Court to watch Sabalenka, Medvedev, Swiatek, and Rublev. But that's it for today, and let me know your thoughts on the Osaka and Anisimova match and all the other results in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post previews of the upcoming 4th round matches. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.